Let me ask you, with Brock Purdy's contract coming up this next offseason, based on how he's played this year, do you think that this is a guy that clearly deserves 50 plus million? Or is this more of like, hey, let's start at 35, 40 and see where we're at?
Well, I think that we always get to an interesting place when we start with, has a guy deserve 60 million, 50 million?
Well, based on his play, that is.
Right. And I get where we come from off that. Like, you have to earn your keep, but at the same point, I'm not sure. One, I don't think anybody in this world deserves $60 million. So that's where I start out with.
Yeah, exactly right.
But I think deserves is maybe not the right word. Is his market value $50+ million? That's the real question we have to ask, is what is his market value? Because if it's just, does a player deserve this? Well, there's a lot of guys who've been paid a whole lot of money that after they signed that contract didn't deserve it. Deshaun Watson would be a great example.
Oh, yeah.
He has not deserved his contract. He didn't
and the
really
fans let him know that.
And he didn't really deserve it when he was traded there because he had lots of personal problems.
Yes.
Brock Osweiler did not deserve that contract.
Yeah, I remember Brock. Another Brock.
Right. But remember, Brock Osweiler's contract was the highest paid quarterback in the league when he was signed in free agency. He didn't deserve that contract. He didn't go out and play 2 seasons and prove that he had done a whole lot and lead a team and have all these wins. No, he had a market value as a potential franchise quarterback, and that's why he got paid what he did. We've seen, a guy like Kirk Cousins. Has Kirk Cousins deserved the contract he's gotten? Well, he's been benched. But is his market value as a guy who can perform the hardest position in sports to a certain level, when you can do that, when you can provide those services, then there are a lot of teams that will pay that approach your market value that way. Dak Prescott has not deserved a $62.5 million a year contract. But that's his market value. Because if he was to hit free agency, just like Brock Osweiler did, there's going to be a team that will make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. If Brock were to hit free agency, there would be at least one team that will pay him commensurately as a quarterback because he's been to a Super Bowl. Just the fact that he's been to a Super Bowl will allow that.
Yeah, but Jimmy Garoppolo's been to the Super Bowl, but I guess he did get paid handsomely when he went to the Raiders.
Yeah, when he went to the Raiders, he was getting paid $25 million a year.
That's crazy.
At the time when the highest paid quarterback in the league was like 35. So, again, Jimmy G didn't deserve his contract after only 5 games, but that was his market value because if he hit free agency, somebody was going to pay him $27.5 million a year.
And they had no other options at that point. It was, they made that trade. They had to get that deal done because that's the guy that they were going to go with. We're talking with Johnny Dell of Johnny Dell's Football Academy over on YouTube. You can follow him on X as well. Johnny, if he lands a contract north of 50 million, let's say it's even 60 million. Let's say it's for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, 6 years, however many years that they sign him for. Do you think that this will be a good signing for the Niners in terms of they have a quality quarterback that's going to be their franchise quarterback going into the future? Or do you think that Brock Purdy is more of a short-term answer, kind of like a Jimmy Garoppolo until you find another option? Because with Jimmy, we knew that right off the bat, there was going to be limitations. We saw it even in his Super Bowl year. We saw limitations in Jimmy's game.
Yeah.
We know there's limitations in Brock's game when you compare him to the elite quarterbacks in the league now, like a Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have the big arm. He doesn't have, the rocket pass that he can throw. He can scramble, yes, but he's also not 6'4", 6'5", like some of these guys. So because of some of those limitations, does that lower his market value because he doesn't have some of those skills that those guys were naturally born with?
Well, again, I think if you look at a quarterback hits the open market that is thrown for 4,200 yards, over 30 touchdowns, has been to a Super Bowl. That guy hits the free agent market. There's going to be a bidding war with at least 2 or 3 teams. It's not going to be a 10-team bidding war. It's not like it wouldn't be the same bidding war as if, Josh Allen if Josh Allen hit free agency, you would see a bidding war unlike you've seen anything else, and you would be looking at like $75-80 million a year.
God.
Right? Like,
He's really
you
good.
would. You
He's
would,
really
right?
good.
Like, just the physicals are the physical traits are so enticing that there would be a bidding war unlike you've seen at any point. That's why franchise quarterbacks don't hit the market. And so, like, in one sense, that the quarterback market is actually a little bit capped right now, because the reason teams like the Bills aren't going to pay him that much money is because if it came down to that, then they would exclusive franchise tag him. Like, if he was asking for $75 million, they would exclusive franchise tag him, and he wouldn't be able to be traded. Mm-hmm. And it would take like 4 years to get to that sort of cap hit. So it makes more financial sense to them to make him the highest paid quarterback and not let him get to free agency. But if he did, you would see the quarterback market jump up to $75-80 million. If the quarterback market opened up now and it was Brock Purdy, it would be the next highest paid contract. Because there would be 2 or 3 teams. Now, again, if Josh Allen hit the free agent market, you'd be looking at 15-20 teams would be into a bidding war.
Absolutely.
Right? So like, when we say market value, we have to understand how the markets are going to work in the NFL and the CBA, because Josh Allen will never hit the free agent market because they can franchise tag him. So he saying, well, I'm just not going to sign a $60 million because I know if I hit free agency, I'll get 75-80. They'll say, well, we'll never let that happen. And we will only, you're going to be maxed out on X amount of dollars over the next 3 years that won't get close to the $62 million a year contract we're offering you right now. That's how it kind of works in that. And so there's market factors that all of these things, guys are paid on market
But do you like
value.
what you see from Brock? Do you think this is a quarterback?
So with Brock, I think what I come back to is I say, okay, Josh Allen can do a lot of great things.
Right.
Does Kyle's offense, with the way it's running, and what I've seen, even going back to the Matt Ryan years, what am I seeing that Brock can't do that Kyle's offense at some point was able to do with, either RG3 or Kirk Cousins or Matt Ryan or Matt Schaub? What were those offenses able to do? Or even going back to Mike Shanahan with John Elway, what were those offenses able to do that I think they can't do right now with Brock Purdy? And there's not really anything that I'm saying, play-wise, like what they design and draw up. There's nothing really there that I see that he can't do. He can make the far hash out throw. We've seen that dozens of times, right? The 12-yard out route from the far hash, that's the throw, the combine throw that they always make every quarterback throw to see, do you have enough arm strength to play quarterback in the NFL? Because if you can't make that throw, defenses will just sit on a lot of other stuff. He can make that throw. Can he make the throw 45 yards down the sideline? We've seen him throw 45 yards down the sideline and hit that throw. Is it on a rope like some other guys? No. But can he complete it? Absolutely. So, we don't have like the 70-yard bomb in our offense. Like, you have to buy a lot of time to let a play develop for that. And that's just not the way our offense is. And Shanahan's talking about, he's like, we aren't throwing 60-yard bombs. Like, that's just not how we run our offense. Like, the ball is out at 5 steps, at 7 steps. Like, that's a maximum of about 35 yards down the field. And so, like, we just don't bomb it out there. So when I look at, like, is there any throw within our offense that Brock can't make? No. Is there any read in our offense that Brock can't make? No. He's brought the second play level to our offense. So I look at Brock and I say, I don't really see anything with our offense that I'm like, that Brock can't run our offense at the way it's run. And our offense has been good enough to be tops near the league for the majority of Shanahan's time here. Not, obviously, this year's a down year. This is not worked out.
But even parts of this year, our offense was really, really good.
Right. So I'm like, if I look at our offense and I say, what do we need to improve to really take this to the next level? Quarterback's not the position that I'm looking at.